McDonald's has entered a Minecraft movie universe, and Grimace, Birdie, and Hamburglar just spawned as new collectibles in the overworld. Now for a limited time, you can get one of 6 McDonald's collectibles when you order a Minecraft movie meal. Ooh. With your choice of Big Mac or 10-piece chicken McNuggets with spicy nether flame sauce. Available now in a biome near you. Oh, and at your local McDonald's. I participate in McDonald's for a limited time. A Minecraft movie only in theaters.
Everyone deserves a chance in the driver's seat. For GM and Revolt, that means leading the way on the road to an all-electric future and envisioning a world with 0 crashes, 0 tailpipe emissions, and 0 congestion. GM's committed to making EVs accessible for everybody. That means you too. So what are you waiting for? GM's got the keys. You grab the wheel. Learn more about an all-electric future and the 000 initiative at gm.com. GM, everybody in.
What's up, y'all? It's your boy David with Black Wealth Renaissance, and I'm here today to tell you guys about Anchor. If you haven't heard of Anchor, it's the best place to make a podcast. Anchor is a free app that has creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast straight from your phone. Anchor also distributes your podcast across all major platforms, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and many others. You can also make money on your podcast with Anchor with no minimum listenership. Anchor is everything you need to make a podcast in one place. So if you're looking to get started on your own podcast, download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm.
What's up, family? It's your boy Jalen. I just wanted to let everybody know about our meetup we're having in New Orleans December 14th. We'll be having it at Blaze Bistro in New Orleans. We're going to have some of our good friends come out speaking about stocks, speaking about financial literacy, and just dropping a whole lot of game. If you'd like to pull up and come have some fun with us, make sure you RSVP through the link in our bio on Instagram, at Black Wealth Renaissance on Instagram, and hit the link in our bio to RSVP. We hope to see you there.
Are you looking to sell or buy your home? Or looking for an investment property? Look no further. BlackWealthRenaissance.com offers a free realtor directory with realtors located across the country to help you meet your goals. Just go to BlackWealthRenaissance.com and select Realtor Directory under Resources. That's BlackWealthRenaissance.com and select Realtor Directory under Resources.
What's up, guys? Welcome to the Black Wealth Renaissance Podcast. Our goal of this podcast is to normalize Black wealth and share helpful resources and tips we believe will be useful in attaining and maintaining generational wealth. Please feel free to rate and comment on our podcast. We would love to hear all feedback you have. Now, enjoy the show.
Welcome back, everybody, to yet another episode of the Black Wealth Renaissance Podcast. David Bellard, 1/4 of the Black Wealth Renaissance, checking in with my co-host. Fellas, how y'all doing?
What up? It's your boy Jalen checking in. I'm feeling great. How y'all doing, bro?
Doing good, man. Kelly checking in. How y'all boys feeling?
Living, man. Loving it. Another Sunday, another great podcast on the way, man. Y'all know how it's coming.
Yeah, this is definitely a special podcast. We've definitely been following this lady for a while. She be doing her thing on Instagram and her thing.
Like damn Brooklyn doing the damn thing.
She's in the office right now working. Like that's how serious it is. So yeah, and this is definitely a good topic we're gonna get on. Her name is Miss Business on Instagram. Her real name is Miss Shaquanna. How you doing? Welcome to the show.
Thank you guys for having me. Thank you. I'm so excited. Like you guys been following me, but I've been following you guys for a really long time too. You guys have been doing your thing. So, I know you guys are probably used to, shining light for other people, but you guys are doing an amazing job as well.
Oh, we appreciate it. Thank
you. We appreciate that.
Yeah, definitely. So, Ms. Shaquanna.
Yes.
Can you give the audience a little background, tell them kind of how you got started and just how did you become Miss Business in the first?
Okay. So I became Miss Business. So when at the time I was still at corporate, and I was getting into a space where I did my first event. It was a panel discussion. It was a vision board and panel discussion It's called Toast to the Vision. I do it annually in January just to kind of kick off the year and help everyone get started, get their visions cleared, think about the resources that they have to put together in order to achieve these goals. And I realized that that was my passion. And that was in January of 2018. And so before that, I was, just trying to figure it out. Like, what am I going to do? How am I going to make financial literacy fun, right? Which I'm sure that you guys had that same thought, right? Like, how can we bring financial literacy and make it cool? And so I just started thinking about, who I was and my experience. I grew up in a small business. Then I transitioned into corporate, where I worked there for 6.5 years. And I was just like, something clicked. And I was like, I'm like Miss Business. Like, I know business. I get it. I understand it. I understand how it works, not only from a small business perspective, but even from a corporate perspective. And so, yeah, I just started to coin the name Miss Business. And I started to so my Instagram handle is Miss Business 101. And then I just started checking across platforms. And I noticed that it was available. And I was like, this had to be destined because one, I feel like Miss Business, someone should have thought about that. Right. But they didn't. And so I was like, you know what? That's who I am. I had thought of some other names like Miss. I can't even remember what they were, but yeah, Miss Business stuck, and I felt like it represented me and what I wanted to offer. So here I am, 2 years later.
So, how did you find your way to the CPA route, though? What was that process like? I know you said, you were in corporate for 6 years, and then, you started to do your own thing. But how did you really what made you say, this is how the avenue I want to make and take to really push financial literacy?
Sure. So in terms of when I originally became a CPA, it wasn't necessarily to push literacy. I graduated college and went straight to Big Four accounting firm, which if you're going to do accounting and you're going to go the route of CPA, you do need 1 year of public experience. And so, going to the Big Four is something that you should do, right? You have to do it if you're an accountant. And so I was there and I studied for my CPA, and I planned on being there for 2 years, right? I wound up being there for 6.5 years, just because I started out in mutual funds, and then I went off into real estate private equity, because that's where my passion lies. My passion lies in real estate. I love real estate. I love the deals. I love the transactions. I love everything about it. So, just being there, I got my CPA because whenever I do anything, I have to do it to the best of my ability. So whatever that area is, I'm going to research what the top thing is in that industry or that thing is, and make sure that I'm executing at the highest level. And so when it came to accounting, CPA was it, right? If you're going to be an accountant, if you're going to go to the top, you need to be a CPA. And so that was pretty much how I became a CPA. Now, in terms of the financial literacy, it was just something that I wanted to be able to give back to us. I feel like that financial literacy piece is missing in our community. And I'm sure that you guys have also, kind of acknowledged the same exact thing. But then when I started to really think about it, I was like, yes, financial literacy is missing, right? However, the topic of taxes is obsolete, right? It's not even talked about. It really is a situation where we go through trying to form businesses, trying to do all these real estate transactions, but no one is thinking about the tax piece of it. And the reality is we pay a lot of taxes. We pay about 12 taxes. We have income tax, sales tax, exercise tax, death tax, property tax. We have so many taxes, right? And so that is one of our highest expenses, but I feel like mentally we're so trained to just feel like, no, this is what we have to pay. And so we don't even think about it, right? Or think about ways to minimize it or use it to our advantage. And so that was how I decided that, no, I'm going to be the one that's going to educate when it comes to taxes, and I'm going to make it cool, and I'm going to make, people feel like this is something that they need to pay attention to.
Okay. So with being a CPA, you're focused in taxing, right? There's different areas under the CPA umbrella that you can go to.
Yes.
Okay. And then my follow-up question is, so I want you to just explain to people why a CPA is necessary and why it's important
for you to have a CPA?
Okay, so first, there are different avenues and different aspects. Under the accounting umbrella, you don't only have taxes, you also have auditing, which is pretty much it's an audit. You pretty much go through the financial statements of a company, and you pretty much validate that the numbers that they are presenting on their financial statements are accurate, right? So you have that. Then you also have taxes. Then you also have a bookkeeping approach. You have, like my company, I do bookkeeping in my company as well. So that's another piece of accounting. And so, you do have different umbrellas. You have some people that just do tax planning, some people that just work on, certain like cases. So you have different CPAs that focus on different things based on what they find interest in. For me, my focus is small business owners and being able to push us, because I'm a small business owner as well, being able to push us in that space of wealth, right? Getting us to think about certain things. So I do have payroll in my company, tax preparation, bookkeeping, business formation, right? Because those things are major, and I plan to expand my company to a full service financial services firm for small business owners, right? And so that's my goal. Hold on, what was the question? I forgot.
It was basically, why was the CPA important?
Oh yes, that was your second question. Okay, so the second question in terms of why a CPA is important. Okay, CPA is important for a few reasons. One, I tell all of my clients or anyone who have a consultation with me, because I get it all the time. Why should I use you over TurboTax? Listen, right? I get it, and I'm honest, right? Like, I'm honest. I'm going to tell you, listen, people ask me this. So if people are thinking this is always my response to them. One, once you start acquiring assets and running a business, you should no longer be trying to use a data aggregation company to file your taxes, right? Because there are tax codes and benefits and advantages that the tax software is not going to give you. So you need to make sure that you have someone that's on your team, one that you can consult with throughout the year. And I'll talk about the whole being able to consult with your CPA and or tax preparer throughout the year, because right now, since we're out of tax season, I'm getting so many calls and so many new clients because they can't find their tax preparer because it's not between January and April, right? But that is extremely important. It's also important to have someone that understands financial statements. That is key. You do not know how many people who, one, will go through tax season with someone that may or may not be a CPA, and they will say, I have no idea what I did last year, right? Which to me is an issue. With my clients, I teach. You need to know what you're doing and why you're doing it. I want my clients to need me in the sense of, you're so busy, so you don't need me, right? So I'm not pushing things on you, and I want you to be knowledgeable, because you'll, one, be able to open up another business and you'll already know what to do, or two, you'll be able to pass that information along to your friends, your family and friends, right? So that is how I'm able to push that culture. So they won't know what's going on, and or it's a situation where they don't even understand what their profit and loss statements are. Like, I'm seeing clients that's been in business for years that can't effectively break down their profit and loss statement to me, have no idea what their balance sheets are, and have no idea how they play a role in what the story is telling in their financial statements. So for me personally, you should not have a business that is revenue-based and asset-based, and you are working with someone that don't know how to dissect a financial statement to tell you exactly what is going on. They don't know journal entries. They literally know how to punch numbers in the software, right? So you hiring someone that doesn't understand financial statements is just as valid as you going on TurboTax punching the numbers in yourself, So that's why I always tell clients, like, you need a CPA, you need someone on your team. And if you're going to be wealthy, then you have to move like the wealthy, right? Yeah. They have a team of people that they work with, CPAs and lawyers being at the top of that list.
We call it our big three.
Yes.
Financial advisor, CPA,
advisor, and a lawyer.
What do you guys call, what is it? CPA, lawyer, and what else?
The big three, CPA, financial advisor, and a lawyer.
Yes, that's key. That is key. And people don't understand it. I see so many people where they don't want to consult. And I tell them, You need to speak with the lawyer. You need to speak with the CPA, because guess what? The mistakes that I'm going to save you, or the money that I'm going to save you, is going to be way beyond anything that, all the mistakes that you're going to make, right? I'm going to help you prevent making those mistakes. And I'm a tax write-off. I'm like a whole benefit. Like, you get to consult with me.
I really like all in one. Like,
yeah,
really,
it's like
why
you get
wouldn't
everything.
you?
Yeah, like why wouldn't you want to work with me? You get to spend money on me and then write it off.
Hey,
I'm like an asset.
I like it.
I think there's something big in there that you spoke on, is that your availability.
Yes.
Because a lot of CPAs and tax professionals are only available, like you said, the January through April, but you being available 24/7. Well, not 24/7, but being available throughout being available throughout the year is really helpful for a lot of people.
Yes. So that is extremely important. And again, as I mentioned, I have a lot of clients who will contact me now in this space because they are unable to contact their tax preparer, or there's a couple different things that happens after January. One, they're receiving letters from the IRS. They have no idea how to determine or read these letters, right? There's also a situation where if you're a business owner, or you're in real estate development, or an investor, or, you just have a tax question, or even a financial statement question, you should be able to reach out to your tax preparer, right? So for me, I work primarily with small business owners and people that are operating businesses all year round. So I'm dealing with quarterly deadlines. I'm dealing with annual deadlines. As I told you guys before, right now I'm in my office, because tax extensions are due tomorrow. And so, yeah, I'm here, I'm present, and that's important. You have to hire people that are really about small businesses, right? Because you even have CPAs that will primarily deal with individuals. That's not your person if you have assets in a business.
Another thing that I found was important, and you talked about bookkeeping. I know a lot of small business owners, and just a lot of people, they overlook that small aspect of bookkeeping. And that goes hand in hand with like being able to keep up with your taxes, because that's your revenue. That's how you figure out what you're spending and everything like that. So that's definitely an important aspect of what you were talking about.
Yeah, so bookkeeping is key. And I tell everyone, bookkeeping it's pretty much like the foundation that you build your house on, right? When it comes to taxes. Without it, one, you won't know. There's a few things that bookkeeping will tell you. One, it'll tell you what the health of your business is, right? Which is extremely important. I have a lot of clients giving out discounts they cannot afford to give out, because if they properly looked at what their cost analysis is versus how much they're actually selling their product for versus the shipping, or how much they're paying employees, they'll realize that they can't even afford to give the discounts out that they're giving out. Bookkeeping also will tell you where your money is coming from. You may have different products that you're selling, or you may have different services, and it'll tell you and let you know, listen, okay, this is where your money's coming from. It may even allow you to eliminate selling a certain product that's not profiting you, right? And so that's extremely important. And so I know that you mentioned, your bookkeeping is going to tell you where your revenue and your expenses are, which is correct. It's also going to tell you, and move into a balance sheet side of things, what your assets and liabilities are, right? And that's super important, especially for my real estate investors, right? People are very concerned all the time with their revenue, but the cost basis of your house is sitting in your asset column. And depending on what expenses you are making, that could increase or decrease the cost basis of your house, right? So there's a lot of different things that you really get to focus on by being able to have that snapshot of your business, of bookkeeping. So a lot of business owners, again, they try to cut corners. And I get it. When you're a small business owner, you're trying to figure it out and you're trying to make it work. And so I tell a lot of my clients, like I mentioned before, I want people when they need me. So I never sell people on anything that they don't need. So if you're just starting out and you don't have a lot of transactions, I tell everybody, download QuickBooks Self-Employed. It is an amazing tool. It's like $10 a month, I believe, but it is a tool. It allows you to connect your cards to it. You can go through, categorize your expenses. At any given point, you can pull up that profit and loss statement so you can see. You can invoice clients from there. So it is an amazing tool. It's going to get to a point in your business where QuickBooks Self-Employed is just not going to be, it's just going to, I guess your business will outgrow it at some point. Right. And so then you need to bring in a bookkeeper, and then, you need to make sure that these things are properly taken care of, but it still needs to be a practice, no matter what method you choose, to be done from the beginning. Yeah. So yeah, that's how I feel about it. I preach about bookkeeping so much. It's so important.
Yeah, it's definitely important. And a lot of people like kind of hit that road bump, especially after that first year, and they got to turn in their stuff for taxes. They're like, I don't know where all of this
I don't know. Trust me. I'm like going to start, you're going to see on my page, I'm going to start promoting like bookkeeping. And listen, because bookkeeping and tax planning, I'm going to try to get my clients ready. Like my goal is to just shift my clients' mindset. We have to get this tax planning. It's no reason why in April you're just finding out what you owe. We're going to figure that out now. Bookkeeping, we're going to get this together, because when tax season comes, I'm already going to have new clients that's coming to me with messed up books. my current clients' books need to be in order.
Yeah.
I'm glad you mentioned your business, because I do want to talk about your business some more.
Okay.
The whole transition from leaving the corporate world to being self-employed and going into entrepreneurship. Can you just get into that, and maybe why did you go ahead and do it, and just how's that been?
Okay. So I'm not sure if we previously spoke about this, but I did grow up in a small business.
Yeah,
my dad
off camera.
Oh, off camera. Okay. So yeah, my dad owns restaurants throughout Brooklyn, and I've been working in those restaurants since I was 6 years old. So from there, I always knew that I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I didn't necessarily know I would have a tax and accounting business. I thought I was going to have like a chain of restaurants or something. But entrepreneurship was second nature to me. I just got it. I love it when my friends, family, they want to start businesses. I'm the one that they've, always kind of came to. So fast forward, went to college, started doing accounting, then got into corporate. So corporate, stayed there for 6.5 years, an amazing experience. You will never hear me ever downplay a 9 to 5. I hear people, and I feel like I call it glorification of entrepreneurship on social media, where everyone makes it seem like it is the thing to do, and you should just go ahead and just jump out the window and quit your job, and everything is going to fall into place. And I'm like, yeah, no. There are certain things that you learn when you're in your job. And if you, and I say this to every single person, who you are at your 9 to 5 is exactly who you are going to be in your business.
Ooh,
Like,
I need that for the people in the back.
Who you are in your 9 to 5 is exactly who you're going to be in your business. When I was in 9 to 5, what I struggled with was coaching people, still getting my work done, and not feeling overwhelmed and still being able to communicate. Now that I'm in my office space, in my business, this is something that is a constant challenge to me, but I show up for it every day. So now it's become a lot easier. But when I tell you, I was like, oh my God, this is the same exact thing. When I was in corporate, I would be working so much more hours because I didn't delegate, right? I wanted to do everything myself. And so it got to a point in my business where I would try to do everything myself. So I'm having the same exact issues because instead of me effectively delegating, I'm trying to take on too much when I could be saying to someone, no, you do that, right? And so as I realized that, I was like, okay, these are the same issues I had in corporate. I can't have that in my business because I knew that I struggled with that. So you know what? I started making the changes, and now I don't care if it's like, if there's like a letter wrong, I'm telling my staff, like, you need to change that, right? Just because it's taking up my time. Like, I don't want to do it. I want my staff to do it so they can be cognizant of it. Okay, but to get back on concept and get back to the question, once I was in corporate, I realized that I wanted to I wanted to be and make financial literacy cool. I wanted to make it a topic that we consistently spoke about. So when I think back, and I will be the first to admit, I feel like I left my job prematurely. I didn't have glorification of entrepreneurship because I was I was raised in that environment. So I knew exactly what I was up against. But when I think back and I'm like, okay, well, you were in corporate, you got, all these tools and resources, but now you decided to say, you know what, I'm going to take this Miss Business thing full throttle. But mind you, I want to tell you, when I quit, I have 400 followers, right? So I just want to throw that out there. So I had clients, but at the time, just to kind of give you numbers, at the time when I quit, that was February 9th of 2018. I quit. I had because it was February, so it was still in the middle of tax season. By the end of that tax season, I may have had like 70 clients, right? This year, at the end of tax season, I had, I believe, like over 400 tax clients.
That's a crazy number. God damn.
Right? And so for me, it was a situation where I never thought that I would fail. I never thought that this wasn't going to be a thing. However, I knew who I wanted. I wanted this business to be more of a financial literacy educator, right? How hard I go with taxes was not my initial thing. It wasn't me saying, so I'm saying that to say that I didn't have it all figured out in terms of where I am now. When I first started, I wasn't doing bookkeeping. My clients pushed me into bookkeeping because I was like, I do not want to deal with bookkeeping, but they pushed me into that space, right? So just saying all of those things to say that I didn't have a full business plan. I had a business plan, but it wasn't at the level at where I am now and where my mindset is now. So that's why looking back, I say I feel like I prematurely quit, because it's like, how could you not think that Miss Business would be doing speaking engagements all around the US? How could you not think that you would have over 400 clients? I filed over 600 tax returns last year between business and personal, right? So it's I grew really quick, I grew really quick. But when I think back, I didn't have those expectations for myself. Mm-hmm. And so that's why I say, maybe I quit prematurely. But, the transition from corporate to entrepreneurship for me was an amazing journey. I did save up enough money, which I do tell people to do. So I did save up enough money. So I was able to just sit down and focus on my business and just give it my all, right? So I'm a little crazy and I'm extremely disciplined. I'm in my office right now by myself. I don't play. I can lock in with no problem. And so that's what I did with Miss Business. It was okay, you have Miss Business, you need to figure out how are you going to grow her? How are you going to make, this person that you have in your head, how are you going to make people understand her? And so that's what I did. And I was just consistent with it. So the transition to me, it was a pretty smooth transition, but I don't know, I'm kind of a little disappointed in myself. How could you not think that you were going to do all the things that you're doing now?
It sounds like you done it at the perfect time. I just want you to know that.
You waited too long.
You definitely had your ducks in a row, because right now we all work 9 to 5s right now. Yeah. Okay. So we definitely agree with you on the not down in the 9 to 5 game. Mm-hmm. We definitely preach, use your 9 to 5 to leverage your dreams.
Yes.
If you do hate your 9 to 5, don't go in there every day and spend your money every week so you're just stuck at the same place for 10, 15 years. No, have a game plan like you did. Yeah, you said you wanted to stay there for 2 years, but there's a reason why you stayed for 6.5.
I had to transition over to real estate private equity. Exactly. So I needed that knowledge. So the first 2 years I was there, I was dealing with mutual funds. And mutual funds, for those that don't know, is the investment vehicle that 401ks invest in. Right, so the 401ks give their money to mutual funds. Mutual funds is a diverse portfolio of different stocks. And so I was working there, but I had no interest in mutual funds. And so I did switch over to the real estate private equity side because I want to be a real estate investor and developer. So I was like, I need to understand what they're doing from a corporate perspective. I need to understand what they're doing, right? And so I understand, how a fund is operated, what goes into play from the documents from the documents to the accounting, because I was, in it for 4 years. So, I definitely feel like I was prepared just in terms of my knowledge. I had the funds, but you know how they say you're supposed to have this business plan and, all these projections. And so I'm big on things like that. But at the same time, I'm like, yeah, sometimes you can't predict where your business is going. You just have to show up and make sure that when it's time for you to pivot, that you could pivot with the business, because, it may happen. It may not happen how you detailed it out on paper.
McDonald's has entered a Minecraft movie universe, and Grimace, Birdie, and Hamburglar just spawned as new collectibles as part of a Minecraft movie meal with your choice of Big Mac or 10-piece chicken McNuggets with spicy nether flame sauce. Participate in McDonald's for a limited time. A Minecraft movie only in theater.
Yeah. So it doesn't have to be just like you imagine. Like, just like you said, you never would have been speaking all over the country, but now it's happening. And shit, you ain't mad at it.
I'm not. I am not. I am not mad at it. I just, sometimes I look back, I'm like, wow, like, you're doing a lot. And you never, I never even thought, like, even in a year, it's literally been a year and a half. And it feels like it's been so long, but it has not.
That's how it is whenever you're in business, especially when you're locked in. It's just like, it's just going. And you brought up another part that I wanted to get to was the real estate side. You kind of already talked about why you got into, because you said you want to be an investor. So I have a 2-part question again. I'm going to give you the first part because I remember how I did you last time.
Yeah, maybe I should write it down.
I'm going to just give you the first part.
You're going to give me the first part? Okay.
Oh, shit. I forgot the first part.
You forgot.
Yeah, I got it. So
okay.
What is the tax benefits that you get from owning real estate? Since you say you understand it from that corporate side, why is it, you get benefits from owning real estate? And a lot of people, they don't understand that, you can have your personal home under LLC. So how is some of those things come into play?
Okay. So in terms of so let's just first start with the tax code. The tax code, as I tell every single person, now more than ever, but it's always been this way. The tax code is invented and in favor of 2 people, the business owner and the real estate investor. Point blank, period. Not the real estate flipper, not the home owner. No, the real estate investor. And the reason being is because the government incentivizes those people who are able to do things that they're not able to do, i.e., provide housing. There's no way that they could provide housing to all of the millions of people, the billions of people that are on this earth, right? So what happens? They're able to say, all right, well, you're going to get this tax break and you're going to be able to get that tax break because you are a real estate investor, right? And so that's kind of how I always start with people. Now, to your statement of saying that you can put your personal home in an LLC. So there's one tax advantage and one tax advantage only for homeowners. And that is, if you live in your home for 2 out of the 5 years, you are able to exempt $250,000 if you're single, and up to $500,000 if you are married, of capital gain income when you sell your property, right? Outside of that, when you put your home inside of an LLC, right? And so you can't take advantage of both. So I just wanted to make it clear because, you said you can put your personal home in an LLC. If you then take your home and you put it inside of an LLC, you're now saying this home is a business. So now you're doing away with, if you decide to sell your property, you're no longer going to be able to, qualify for being able to be exempt up to $250,000 or $500,000 of capital gain income from being taxed on. What will happen is now your home is looked at as a business. So that means every single thing, all of the repairs, everything that goes into your home, you're now able to write off, which is different from if your personal home, you had to fix that garage, you just had to fix that garage, right? But if you had it under an LLC, all of those expenses that you're incurring, you're able to write off. right? So it is a difference. And I feel like another this year with taxes, I felt like I was like a tax therapist this year with this new tax code. And I felt like I had to make people understand, like personal, like individuals understand the tax code, right? This year, just because the taxes changed this year. It was a situation where in prior years, your property taxes helped you and your itemized deductions, so it helped you get a bigger refund. This year, all taxes that you're able to itemize on your personal side were capped at 10,000. Most of the time, by the time you do whatever you paid in state taxes, you're barely going. Your property taxes is barely even going to take effect, right? And so that is like a huge issue. So many people were getting lower refunds this year. And again, what they're doing, the middle class and the working class, they're taking more taxes from them and then giving more incentives to business owners and real estate investors.
With the tax code change, didn't they cut the tax rate for the corporate tax rate from like 35% down to 21%?
They cut it down.
Yeah.
They did cut it down. And to me, that's just kind of scary. Like even the very wealthy people, they're like, we're not spending this money. I think it was like Warren Buffett. He was just like, yeah, we're just kind of like holding this in reserve or something. I believe he said, right? Because he just feels that it's all going to come back. And that's what I'm afraid of. So just to kind of talk about real estate, and I know that everyone is, kind of going crazy over opportunity zones. The only thing, and I'm not going to turn this into a real estate opportunity.
We can talk about it.
You can do what to do. This is what we here for. So, yeah, let's go.
But what with opportunity zones, the only thing, like it's great, right? If you have the means and you have the capital gains to take that money and invest, it's great. But what I'm thinking long term, just because I'm thinking taxes, what if all these people that decide to invest in opportunity zones that don't get to hold it, what is it for, like 7 years, or after they hold it for 7 years,
whenever they get all the capital gains.
Yeah.
So after 7 years, you just get, I think, like 25. There's like a 25%. You get like a 25% recapture.
I know what you're talking about. Like I don't want to get into the numbers.
It's like a 25% recapture, right? So what I'm thinking is, what if tax rates? So there are some people that have entered into it from the beginning, and they're going to be able to hold it within that period, so that they can be 100% exempt from those capital gains. But what about the people who are investing their money and the tax rates are one thing right now, but you did this so that you can get a discount? But then what if they increase rates, right? Then once you sell this property years from now, it may or may not be the opportunity that you thought it was going to be, right? And so I'm not against opportunity zones, but I just don't hear anyone talking about that. Like what the projected taxes, if those tax rates increase, like what does that mean for the sale of your property?
And I think a lot of people aren't thinking about like that. And that, what that kind of reminds me of is kind of like with funding for universities and stuff. Whenever they created student loans and everything, they didn't think about it that far ahead in advance. So it is like a great perspective to think about, like interest rates change and everything. I never thought about that either.
Yeah, so like if the tax rates change, it's like it changes everything. It changes the trajectory of everything. And so it's just something to think about, but I still think that it's a good, it's a good investment. It's a great opportunity. But yeah, I'm also going to probably do like a whole opportunity zone webinar, because I just feel like the tax piece
get left out of it. Like, because everybody hears the good part about opportunity zone.
What's the bad part?
10 years, no taxes, boom. But it's a lot more nuanced than that.
I think in order for you to even take advantage of that, you had to do it like this is like the last year. Outside of that, you could just hold it for like the 7 years.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm getting confused, but
no, because it gets out there. The legislation.
It's kind of weird.
Yeah, it's not very clear. It's not very clear. Like they just issued like new guidance on it this year. So like every single year, it's like, okay, we're gonna fine tune it a little bit more. We're gonna like throw
They
something else
figuring
out
it out
there.
themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Quick plug session. Anybody interested in learning more about opportunity zones? We do have
Charm City,
Charm City Buyers course on our website. That's www.blackwealthrenaissance.com. Opportunity Zones Masterclass. Check it out. Sorry. Back to the
Check
show.
it out.
But I do want to ask you, what is the biggest way you get your get new clients? Is it through just referrals, or is there like advertising that you do?
So the two, well, I get a lot of clients through a couple of different ways. One being social media. Social media is huge for me. Outside of that, it is speaking engagements. The connection of getting out there and communicating and connecting with people. I've heard from so many of my clients, they're like, all right, well, the way you explain taxes is like, it's digestible. I don't feel like you're speaking over my head. I understand it. And so I think when I'm, able to really connect and get in a room with people and speak to them about taxes, it clicks. It's something that they don't tune out of, that they are able to digest the information that, that is pretty much, I'm giving. And then the second is referrals. I get a lot of referrals from clients. I also get a lot of referrals from, other business owners that I work with. One being Matt. I love Matt, MG, the mortgage guy.
Yeah.
Matt is like a Miss Business, like advocate. Like I love Matt. It's like, key, but we work together on a lot of clients because, their taxes need to be done. And sometimes, especially when you're a business owner, you have a lot of people who are just not filing their taxes, but then they're like, oh, I want to get into real estate. And he's like, go see Miss Business. Go see Miss Business. so yeah, Matt is amazing. So shout out to Matt, always looking out.
Yeah, y'all definitely, y'all don't know who he is. Y'all definitely go follow him. He's pretty dope. He's doing some great work.
MG, the mortgage guy.
Yeah.
I got one more. So what is the biggest tax advantage that anybody could take advantage of, or most people could take advantage of?
That's a good one.
The biggest tax advantage that anybody can take advantage of. That's kind of broad because every industry and everything is different, right? But from a small business perspective, in terms of tax advantages, where I think people aren't even thinking, I think is the structure of their business. Like it first starts with the structure of your business, and every single person can do the work to make sure that they are able to, structure their business in a way that it'll be more it'll be more in favor of their taxes, right? Because if you're starting out and, let's say you say, okay, my most popular one, oh, I have an LLC, right? No one knows why they have an LLC. They just have an LLC. That's what they were told. That's what they know. I just went out and started an LLC, and I'm like, okay, why? And they're just like, okay, to protect my assets. And I'm like, okay, but why not a corporation? A corporation protects your assets. Why not an S corporation? That also protects your assets. There's no, all of them are going to pretty much allow your business to act as a separate entity outside of you, so why do that? And so what I've also learned is that the tax piece of that is always missing. They never think about the reality is you in lieu of you protecting yourself, you're also just telling the IRS how you want to be taxed, right? And so not choosing correct business structures, like my single member LLC people, in most cases outside of real estate, they are paying 15% more in taxes that they shouldn't be paying, right? And it's just a matter of them not knowing. So right there, that's like a huge tax, kind of like break that they could be giving themselves, but because they don't know and they're not consulting with CPAs, they're not necessarily able to, take advantage of that. If I want to start talking about real estate, the biggest one that I see a lot of real estate investors don't take is depreciation on their property. That's like tens of thousands of dollars in some cases every single year that you're able to write off, that is kind of like imaginary money, right? Because you have a mortgage out on your property. So technically, if you're depreciating a home of $100,000, you get to depreciate it over 27 and a half years. So if you are writing off your property over 27 and a half years, and you have a mortgage out on it, technically you're able to write off the value of your property over time, but it's not even money that you actually spent, right? But it's showing up as an expense on your rental property profit and loss statement, right? It's a depreciation expense that you're able to take. So I always run into real estate investors who they have, I don't know, they go to H&R Block or wherever they go to get their taxes done, where it's like, hey, they didn't ask the questions, about what's the value of your house, right? Because it's very interview based. Do you have a house? Do you have rental income? Do you have expenses? So they're not thinking about that. So real estate, that would be my tip for that. Business owners in general, check your business, how your business is formed, because that right there could mean a big cut in taxes. And what's another one? I feel like I want to think of another one. This one, I mean, no, because I was going to talk about like employee benefit plans, but that doesn't apply to like a lot of small business owners. I do have a lot of clients that do have benefit plans and things for their clients, but I want to give something more like for starters. I don't know. That's all I can think of right now.
Okay.
I have a question actually.
Yes.
I would like for you to dive into just a little bit more the kind of some of the differences between the
That's
escort
exactly
setup
what I was
Okay, let's do it. All right. So with a single member LLC, while you are protected and you are seen as a separate entity, from a tax perspective, you're seen as a sole proprietor. So what that means is when you're a sole proprietor, you don't file a separate informational tax return. What happens is you'll file a Schedule C with your 1040, with your personal tax return. And what happens on that money is that you have to pay self-employment tax. Self-employment tax is made up of Social Security tax and Medicare tax. If you're an employee of a job, you'll see it show up on your paycheck as Social Security tax and Medicare tax or FICA tax. And so what happens when you're an employee is you pay half and your employer pays half. So you pay 7.65% and your employer pays 7.65%. But as a single member LLC or sole proprietor, what happens is you have to pay that whole entire 15.3%, right? Now, in comparison to an S corporation, what happens is as an S corporation, you are able to be the only member inside of an S corporation. So with the S corporation, you can, let's just say hypothetically, if you made $100,000 and we can add a number to it, you made $100,000 under an S corporation, what will happen is you'll have to fill out an informational return. You will have to pay yourself what's deemed a reasonable salary. So that is very important, right? Because I have a lot of people who will form S corporations, but then they don't pay themselves out a salary. Now they have a whole payroll audit, and it just, you still have to do what you have to do in terms of meeting administrative guidelines when it comes to S corporations. But with an S corporation, when that income flows through to your personal return, because you've already completed what's named an 1120S to file your S corporation taxes. So let's just say you filed an 1120S informational return, and an informational return just means that you're not paying taxes at that business level, right? The only thing you're doing is providing the information at that business level, saying, okay, on my business level, I made $100,000, right? You're not actually calculating and paying the taxes on that business level. What happens is you're generated what's called a K1, which is just like a W-2. The K1 stating, okay, from business X, Y, and Z Inc. Made $100,000. We now need to report on your personal return that you made that $100,000 inside of your business, right? So now the $100,000 is now being reported on your personal return. once $100,000 is being reported on your personal return, what happens is because it's coming in as because it's coming in as a K1, what happens is you pretty much get around paying that 15.3%. However, it's not a whole tax avoidance, right? It's not something that you can do to like totally avoid paying that 15.3%, right? Because I mentioned that you have to pay yourself and put yourself on salary. So let's just say hypothetically you said, all right, it is a reasonable salary. So it is based on facts and circumstances. So let's say in Brooklyn, New York, it's expensive here, right? I may, say, okay, I'm going to pay myself, let's say $40,000, it's a reasonable salary. Okay, I pay myself $40,000. I'll be paying the 15.3% on the $40,000 versus paying it on the whole $100,000, right? If I was a single member LLC or a sole proprietor. And so that is a way that you can significantly reduce your that self-employment tax, right? And that's saving you like a ton of money. When it comes to, as I mentioned, like I try to be a resource to connect the dots because I do feel like sometime in business, the difference is just having those resources, right? So with my clients, whenever they have LLCs and they want to convert over to an S corp, or they want to just form S corps from the beginning, what I do is, I set it up for them. But I not only set it up, I work closely with ADP. And we bring them in and I make sure that they get set on payroll, right? And they can pay themselves whenever they want. If they want to do biweekly, they can do biweekly. If they want to do monthly, quarterly, it really is just up to them, but they have to be in compliance with paying themselves a salary. So that's the difference between the two.
Thank you for that. Yeah, I really appreciate it. I learned something.
No problem.
I was definitely like locked in.
Well, good. I'm happy. I'm hoping you guys are learning.
I appreciate it.
Tax game got a lot to do with it, but shit, I guess now's a good time to pivot on to the last segment of the show.
Okay.
What's on your timeline?
What's on your timeline? Let's talk about what's on your timeline. What's on your timeline? I've been working. I've been here filing taxes. I can't look on social media. I have to be an example to everyone listening. I'm locked in. I haven't been on social media. What's on your timeline?
I respect the grind. So I actually do have something to talk about. What's on your timeline?
Shine, brother, shine.
I came across on social media. It was talking about the side hustle trap that is America. Mm-hmm. And basically what it was kind of getting at was that, we're real big on entrepreneurship, side hustles and all that, but a lot of Americans are getting into these things and they're dedicating a lot of time to them and they're not seeing the results. And many of them are doing this and they're not doing it where our goal is to create wealth, but they're just doing it basically to make ends meet. Like, the people who are driving Uber when they get off of work and that type of stuff. So really, I just kind of want to see where everybody kind of stands on like the current economic standing of America. Like the gig community. The gig economy and like the way people are compensated right now.
The NBA playoffs are here, and I'm getting my bets in on FanDuel. Talk to me, Chuck GPT. What do you know?
All sorts of interesting stuff, even Charles Barkley's greatest fear.
Hey, nobody needs to know that.
New customers bet $5 and get $250 in bonus bets if you win. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. 21 plus and present in Virginia. Must be first online real money wager. $5 deposit required. Bonus issued is non-withdrawable bonus bets that expires 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See full terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Because back then, like I think in the study that I was looking at, it was like the stuff that people are doing to pay for it now, they could have accomplished on like a one person's middle class salary in like the 70s.
That's interesting.
That's very interesting.
And my take on it is like, it kind of speaks to the fact that like the wage, the dollar, like the power of the dollar, like the way it's kind of increased and wages being paid, it hasn't really changed since then. Because if you're doing all of this type of work, like you say, you're working a 9 to 5, then you still have to go drive Uber just to make ends meet. that's a problem that we have to fix within our economy right there. As far as the gig community economy, that's another great thing because California recently passed a law versus Uber, targeting
Uber,
companies like Uber and Lyft, where they could be written off as contractors before, as independent contractors.
1099
Yeah,
no more.
now with the new legislation, they can't 1099 them. They got to be enrolled as like employees.
That's interesting.
Wow.
So will they get
very
benefits and everything from that then?
Yeah. That's what they're talking about now.
That'll be interesting.
Wow. My take on that is a few things. I think it's a mix between people doing what they need to do and people doing what they know they can do. And so what I mean by that is I know that I can like generate some extra income through Uber. So as you mentioned, when I get off of work, that's what I'm going to do, right? To generate some additional income. I think now we have so much information. And with me being an accountant, which is why my view is a little different, is that I'm finding that people are picking up side hustles. Like it has some people that they're like, yeah, I do Uber, but by the time, no, I do Uber Eats, but I mean, by the time, they I guess it's like a fee and then they gas, they're like, yeah, I'm probably like breaking even. And I'm like, okay, so why are you doing it? I just think, yeah. And so I think that we're in a space where one, there's a glorification of entrepreneurship, right? Which breeds the side hustle, right? So I also run into a lot of clients who treat their side hustles like side hustles. Again, you're not treating your business like a business. I mentioned earlier, I have a lot of people giving discounts or selling products they can't afford, right? So I tell my clients two things. One, if it's your side hustle and you can't afford to re-up and keep doubling your money, then you're probably doing this wrong. You probably need to raise your price and really figure out what it's costing you to really operate, right? Because a lot of people don't do that. They don't really sit down and break down the numbers on what it takes them to operate, right? So now they're stuck in this cycle of having a side hustle until it just starts to exhaust their pockets and drain their pockets, then I guess they wake up. So for me, I feel like a part of that has to do with glorification of entrepreneurship. And I call it like I feel like social media is like a glass wall where you have, the good life sitting on one side, and then you have everyone that's going to keep bumping into this wall because one, they're not doing the work and things that they need to do to actually get to that other side. And then, you have the people that they're so desperately infatuated with what they're seeing on social media as this thing on, what they want. But the reality is these people aren't really giving you the right exact tools that they're using for you to get there, right? So they're going to consistently keep bumping into this wall. And so, I don't know, I kind of feel like glorification of entrepreneurship and social media has something to do with that.
Social media, that's definitely something we're trying to bring to the forefront, because we know a lot of that does go on social media, that glorification and that lack of talking about the difficulties and the challenges. So it's one thing we like to try to open up with this platform. We like to open up that discussion because, like, even with BWR, we face challenges. Like it doesn't matter. Challenges are gonna come no matter what business you're in.
Wait until you guys get employees.
We got a couple.
How many you got?
We're working on.
We got 3 now.
Three? I got 5 employees, and I'm like, oh my God.
we had some interesting experience.
Yeah, we've tried to hire some other people too. I'm just gonna say that was
interesting.
Interesting, right?
I'm not gonna talk bad about anybody.
What?
No, don't. Essential needs to give me a deal, right? I'm like broadcasting it.
Cut the check, Shaquanna. Who own that?
I don't know, but I love it. But they need to give me a deal. So if you're listening, you're a rep for Essentia. I could be your girl.
Give I needed to see her face when she did that.
She out here trying to get endorsements off the podcast. I love it.
Listen,
Trying to get that bag.
I gotta make my social media count. This is a business. Get them to give me some deals to post.
Hey, speaking of that, can you plug yourself in? Let everybody know where they can find you, where they can go to your website if they're trying to get some of your services, anything like that. Just let them know what you got going on.
Yeah, so I am Miss Business, so ms.business101 across all platforms. Instagram is my baby. I am most, I guess you can say, prominent on Instagram, but I am breaking into Facebook. So you'll see me doing a lot more over there, as well as Twitter. I'm also going to try to get on Twitter within the next week.
I see it in your face. You're like, I really don't want to be on Twitter.
You know what it is? I used to tweet so long ago, and now I'm like, oh God, I have to go back to tweeting. But anyway, my website is www.msbusiness101.com. And so on my website, you can find, my bio, who I am. If you want to schedule a consultation, there's a consultation link there where you'll be able to set up a consultation, to book some time on my calendar, pick a time that works for you. And yeah, we can chat. There's also, if I'm ever doing any events, which I do a lot of like networking events. So if I'm doing any events or speaking engagements or ebooks, anything, it's all on my website. I don't use Linktree. I use my website. So everything is there.
Oh, for sure. Once again, we thank everybody for tuning into the podcast every week. We appreciate you, Miss Business, for coming on the podcast.
No problem.
And just dropping some gems, some great information about being a CPA, why you need a CPA, about taxes, about real estate. Really enjoyed this episode. Also, if y'all want to listen to this episode, y'all know where to find it on Instagram, but you can also go to our website, www.blackwealthrenaissance.com. I'm sorry, I said Instagram. I mean Apple Podcasts. But you can go through our link on Instagram. You can access all types of great stuff we have on. But through our website, we are building a CPA directory, which Miss Business already did sign up for. You can find her there if you're trying to figure out anything about her. We're going to have other CPAs around the country. If you want someone that's a little bit local to you, you'll be able to find someone like that. Or we also have the Realtor directory. We have the Financial Advisor directory. And we're going to also be coming up with some more financial services and just services directories like lawyers and everything that you'll need to help protect.
We want to connect Black professionals with the community. Because we know that that's an issue in the community that we are complaining about, is that we can't find anyone to work with. No more complaints. Let's focus on the solution. There you go. Here's a directory of the Black people all across the country doing this thing.
That's amazing. And especially when, just to kind of give you guys some statistics, for CPAs, only 4% of all CPAs are Black. And I don't know how many of that are even Black women. I'm kind of rare. But yeah, it's crazy. When I heard that statistic, I was like, wow, that's crazy. It's only 4% of all CPAs are African American.
So we're trying to look. That 4%, we're trying to have all of them on the website.
Get them all on the website.
100% of our services.
So if you are a CPA and interested in joining the directory, you can go to our Instagram or to our website, and you can fill out the form to where you can submit your information, and then we'll be able to put it up on the website. Also, coming up, we have the Black Investors Summit, which will be happening in DC, May 2020. Y'all be on the lookout for it. It's
I'll be there.
Oh yeah.
Maybe you guys want to be on a panel or something.
There's no question about you being there. If you want some more information about it, text Summit to 21000. That's Summit to 21000, and it'll text you all the information about ticket information, how you can reserve your ticket, even have some information about rooms and everything. So just text that, and you'll be able to be locked in and be updated. Also, we have the Patreon account. Kelly, tell them about that link, my brother.
It is patreon.com/THEBWR. That is patreon.com/THEBWR.
Kelly always with the gold and the link. Yeah. So Patreon, yes. It starts at $1. We have 3 different tiers. The Patreon is meant to help us go throughout and travel so that we can create more in-person connections with people across the country. Social media is great. We have been able to accomplish great things there. But just based on a few networking events that we have put on, we would like to continue to do that to create that change in the community, just for lack of a better word. So Patreon is something you're looking to support. That's the link. What it is, Kelly?
Patreon.com/THEBWR.
My man.
Kelly, you got anything you want to add, my brother?
Man, I just want to shout out to all the listeners that keep rocking with us, man. Keep rocking with us because, I mean, we were in top 100 still.
Top 100 again.
Yeah, we definitely appreciate that.
Keep rocking with us. We got some better content coming in soon. So please keep going.
Yeah. With all that said, this is Black Wolf Renaissance signing out.
Deuces.
My brother-in-law died suddenly, and now my sister and her kids have to sell their home. That's why I told my husband we could not put off getting life insurance any longer. An agent offered us a 10-year, $500,000 policy for nearly $50 a month. Then we called SelectQuote. SelectQuote found us identical coverage for only $19 a month, a savings of $369 a year.
Whether you need a $500,000 policy or a $5 million policy, SelectQuote could save you more than 50% on term life insurance.
For your free quote, go to SelectQuote.com. SelectQuote.com. That's SelectQuote.com.
SelectQuote. We shop, you save. Full details on example policies at SelectQuote.com/commercials.
When it comes to clothes, it's great to have options. But having pieces that you can wear anywhere is a must for everybody. That's why American Giant makes clothing that fits into your life seamlessly, with quality you have to feel to believe. And with an impressive selection of staples to choose from, there's something for everyone. So whether you're on the hunt for the perfect t-shirt, a solid pair of jeans, or super soft sweatshirts, American Giant has what you're looking for. Each American Giant piece is designed to last and created with commitment to doing things better. And all their products are made right here in America. Because keeping things local ensures the kind of quality you'll feel and appreciate for years to come. Discover the American Giant difference today. Shop Wear Anywhere closet staples at American-Giant.com and get 20% off your order when you use code WA23 at checkout. That's 20% off at American-Giant.com, promo code WA23.
McDonald's has entered a Minecraft movie universe, and Grimace, Birdie, and Hamburglar just spawned as new collectibles in the overworld. Now for a limited time, you can get one of 6 McDonald's collectibles when you order a Minecraft movie meal. Ooh. With your choice of Big Mac or 10-piece chicken McNuggets with spicy nether flame sauce. Available now in a biome near you. Oh, and at your local McDonald's. At participating McDonald's for a limited time. A Minecraft movie only in theaters.